time. If this don't work, I'm gonna have to do a restart on the whole computer and see if we can't. Oh, there we go. It's going. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it says we're live. Had a little snafu.
Snafu.
OBS for some reason the settings aren't saving from like the live chat setting I put in wasn't saving. So anyway, we're just gonna get started a little early, end a little early tonight. Basically, just gonna go through the questions. Got some good questions on the Discord. Let's start with there's 38 minutes left. I was gonna start with one of the poll questions. I thought it ended, but it didn't. So I'll put links to the poll question in the live chat. Let me send you guys a link to the live chat. And then once we get the full crew in here, we'll get into the questions and stuff. So anybody got any thoughts real quick on some ukulele or anything? Either of you guys pick up the game?
No, mine's on order. I'm waiting for it to come. Hopefully by the end of this, midweek maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, same here. Mine hasn't come yet. Thanks to this wonderful, what do you call it? Holiday, so-called holiday we have today.
Yeah, my mate's playing it. He's absolutely loving it. You know, he's an old Rare fan, like me and T and stuff. And he just said that the game just oozes, that old Rare.
Yeah, it's so crazy because for me, usually when I see a game that's so closely feels like another game, I'm usually like, well, I'll just play the fucking original. Like, why? Like everyone's like, oh, forget what game it was. Like, oh, it's so much like a Link to the Past, and I see the same. Look like even one of the same bosses look like the same. I'm like, why would I play this clone when I can play a Link to the Past still, and still enjoy that? But for whatever reason with Yooka-Laylee Impossible Lair, it feels so much like fucking Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Returns. I think it feels way more like those than the original. I'm not having that same issue where I'm like, oh, this is just a clone. I'd rather just play the original. It feels like a sequel to those games. It just feels right playing it,
That's good.
So the weird thing is that like when you finish a level, it almost has a Rayman Legends. I didn't play Origins, but Rayman Legends like sound, like the sound effects when you hit enemies and the end music has that whatever. I don't know if it's a ukulele. I don't know if that's an instrument, right? Ukulele.
Yeah.
Ukulele. Yeah.
It's just like this like beach Jamaican guitar, like happy-go-lucky kind of strumming, and it just feels like it brings me right back to Rayman Legends every time I beat a level.
Caribbean, you mean Caribbean?
Yeah. Just, really positive. Is that just Caribbean? That's not Jamaican.
That's Caribbean sound.
Yeah, but David Wise got that sound, isn't he? Like that.
Mm-hmm.
His why just fits. Like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. So well. It's just that merry, happy beat to it.
Yeah, the island sound. That's
that island sound. Yeah, that feels more like for me like I'm playing Rayman Legends. Like I don't know why, and like when you hit the enemies, they kind of make kind of similar sound effects, and you collect the feathers. Kind of feel like the was it looms or whatever in the Rayman. Yeah, in Rayman Legends. I almost feel like that reminds me more of Rayman Legends than it even does the Donkey Kong Country series. But then you get into like the underwater level I posted a video of, and so in the challenge and finding, they got 5 coins. There's no puzzle pieces or anything, but the 5 coins can provide quite the challenge to find all 5. And a lot of deaths and the momentum based, the rolling and jumping. It's very Donkey Kong. But it's just crazy that it definitely feels like they played the hell out of Tropical Freeze and Returns, and this is like a sequel to those games, not the original trilogy.
Yeah, I was laughing on Twitter actually because when they launched the game, I don't know if you follow Grant Kirkhope. He's
I don't follow him, no.
Yeah, he's hilarious. He always drops stuff that he shouldn't drop. But
you mean banjo hints?
Yeah, exactly.
Smash.
Exactly. But he said himself someone said something to him, and he said, "Hey, I thought we weren't going to mention Donkey Kong." And then Chris Moyles comes back and says, "Oh yeah, sorry, not meant to mention that game." So clearly they were in the office, talking about wanting to make a 2D Donkey Kong, successor again. It was the template, but obviously still trying to go their own way and stuff. But I mean, these the old Rare guys. Of course, they're going to be influenced by their old games. They can't escape that history. It's no shame in it.
I actually hope they keep going because I remember them talking about this like right around the maybe a few months before Yooka-Laylee, the 3D platformer came out. They were talking about taking the characters and doing other things with them. I hope they do homages to all their stuff. I hope they do GoldenEye, or Perfect Dark. I hope they do one for Jet Force Gemini.
Gemini, let's go.
Can they do any others and keep the Yooka-Laylee characters, you think? Is there any other game they could keep those characters? And maybe the race, maybe like a Diddy Kong.
Yeah, maybe like a kart racer. They could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I obviously I haven't played any of the Yooka-Laylees yet, but you can still see that they're trying to build up a little world of characters, and keep them going in this game. So
they had that market cornered. Like do what you good at, man. Like you don't have to stray too far from that. That's what the fans want anyway.
Yeah, and I haven't heard any interviews or anything, but like I said, I wouldn't believe any of the developers of Yooka-Laylee and Impossible Lair if they said, "Oh, I've never played Tropical Freeze or Returns." I just wouldn't believe them because
I'm sure they have.
It feels like what
I think
what Retro should have had out. They should have had this game out, but be Donkey Kong 3 or whatever, their third game.
I think recently as well they just confirmed that at least in the UK, I think 54% of the sales were on the Switch or something for Yooka-Laylee in the first week. So
wow.
You know where the market is. Like.
Well, I mean, of course. I mean, we know for sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they even put out the Xbox version, honestly.
Poor Xbox. Jeez.
And then the funny thing is, like, they actually did something for the Xbox One X version, but they didn't do anything for the PS4 Pro version. It's like, well, the PlayStation is definitely going to be the second best selling, so it's kind of weird. Like, there's absolutely no difference between Xbox One S and PS4 Pro. They're identical. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two from video capture. It's fine. They all run lock 60, 1080p. They look beautiful. It's just kind of weird that they put extra effort into the Xbox One X.
Well, I mean, that would be a different version. Maybe they picked, we want a high-end version. Maybe one we can put on PC as well.
Yeah, I guess there's a PC version, so it's probably...
Yeah, I think that's probably what they decided is like, well, this is easier to, to port between the two of the high-ends, the PC and the Xbox One. So that's probably what they were thinking.
But we talked about the end of the podcast last week. One of the downsides is the old Switch tax was applied on this game, and it's like... I think Clocked said it's even worse in the UK, like the difference.
So I think
because
the PS4 version was like £15, which let's just say to round things off is $20, right? And then the Switch version, I think is retailing for £30, which let's say is
45-ish,
45, something like that. Yeah, so it's a big jump.
Oof.
And it's like the PS4 version says it's 3.5 gigs is available space is what you need on the PlayStation 4. It's like there's no way the Switch version is a larger file size. I'd be shocked, but
it wouldn't be. It just wouldn't make any sense.
And even if it was just barely over 4, it's like you guys couldn't compress something just to get under 4 and put it on the 4 gig cart if that's what needed to be to have a equal price. Like,
of course, weird. I mean, it has to be more than what we know. I think you were talking about shortages or something.
Yeah, the cartridges are definitely, with the Apple thing like a year ago, there was a problem with that memory. And so the effect was Switch cartridges were going up, but that was never really reported like extensively, so I don't know if that's still in effect but you got The Witcher coming out on a 32 gig cart. It's like, what the hell did that cost?
Yeah, but I mean, I can see where you can make the argument. Well, CD Projekt Red can afford it more,
Yeah,
or
that's
Nintendo maybe made a deal with them to get the 32
yeah,
gig.
and that's a $60 game, so it's,
Right.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
it's a
I-
little different there.
I would have bought the Switch version for even price. It was at the store. It was the only version they had. I would have bought it. I'm just like, I'm not. Why would I pay $10 more for the exact same game?
Well, that's why I'm still waiting on it, because I wanted the Switch version, and I got it online for what did I say, 34?
Yeah.
So tax would have been 32.
Mm-hmm.
So my Switch fee was $20 or $2. So
Yeah.
not that bad.
I didn't really want to wait, but
yeah.
So anyway, everybody's here. How you guys doing? Been quiet?
Good. I mean, y'all are in the middle of a conversation.
You could have jumped in.
There was nothing really.
Can you hear me properly?
Yep.
Yeah.
I tried to watch
good. My
Robert.
mic is busted.
Besides, Clark doesn't get to talk a lot anyway, so he deserves it.
Robert, you
guys
got
get to-
ukulele.
Yeah.
Robert was struggling to stream ukulele because he was reading the chat while trying to do a difficult platformer. And,
Well, I'm sorry that I'm trying to stream, Juice.
you don't got to read the chat while you're in the middle of a jump.
All right, well, this is what I'll say. This is what I'll say.
It's called fan engagement.
No,
Jesus.
to me, it I don't want to be a streamer that just plays a game, then I might as well not stream. But to me, it's like it's all fit. To me, it's 50% game, 50% interaction, yo. And that's what I like to do. And if that means I have fun just fucking around, yo, I have fun fucking around. That's all it is.
Well, most streamers just babble on about anything. They don't really pay attention to the chat.
Because that's my problem. I'm always paying attention to chat, yo. Well, it's not a problem. That's a good thing. I like paying attention to the chat, and I want to interact. I don't want to be one of the streamers that are just like quiet.
Robert, it's perfectly fine.
That's boring, right?
I've lost plenty of lives paying attention to chat.
Yeah, I don't. It don't
So
matter.
did you play it outside of the stream?
Yeah, and it's fucking great, yo.
Mhm.
It's fucking great. It's super damn good.
Does it feel like more of a sequel to Tropical Freeze than it does the original trilogy that these guys worked on?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, yeah. Like, I mean, but it's hard because how can you recap? To me, it's how can you recapture something like that original trilogy without, I don't know, like scaling down almost? Because to be fair, like you're not
It's a
able
graphics thing, right? So you
Yeah,
don't look at it. and be
It's
like,
not just the
it's hard.
graphics, just how everything plays and
for sure. But I think
how
it's
the
hard
levels
to
are
kinda, like,
constructed.
because to me, okay, for me, I always thought that Tropical Freeze was that evolution that feels great. It's the next step. If they had that on the Super Nintendo, they'd probably do something like that. And so like I feel like, I mean, it's so damn good, and it does definitely feel more Tropical Freeze than I guess you could say the original Country, which is, I mean, I have zero problems with that
Mhm.
because it's so damn good. It feels so tight, and the level design's awesome. The music is so good, and oh man, I love it.
Yeah, I only got 11 levels in, but I spent probably a good hour just on the fucking the overworld puzzles and stuff. Like I put a lot of time.
Did you go back into the lair a few times?
Not yet, no.
I went in back, like every time I beat a level, I try the layer to see how deep I could get. And
explain that for those who don't know.
So basically the layer is kind of like Breath of the Wild, where it took inspiration for that, I guess you could say, where you know how in Breath of the Wild you could just go to Ganon if you wanted to. If you could try, you're probably gonna die, but hey, you could try it. And that's how it is that the
Except
impossible
you
layer
don't have
is
to do
end.
you don't have to do the plateau first in ukulele. It's literally
It's
a
literally
screen above where you start. The
you
first
actually
level.
start like in the impossible layer just to try it out, and then when you die it's like, oh shit. And so I thought I was just gonna restart, but then I forgot, oh no, that's the final level. That's literally the whole point of the game, is to every time you get a B is like an extra hit that you could take in the layer. Every time you finish a level you get a B, and then that's like an extra hit point. And so you could technically get like 40 something Bs and maybe be indestructible. I don't know. It depends on how tough it is later
So
on.
is the layer set up in a way for you to purposely get hit, or?
That's what I've tried to
Well,
realize. I'm
they-
not exactly sure because there are some really tight ones, but I know someone pointed out in the chat when I was streaming that they're like, that one laser thing seemed too fair, but the second time around when I did it, I didn't get hit by the laser thing. So it was like, okay, well maybe I don't think so.
I'm sure it's technically possible to beat it with
Mhm.
only taking one hit, but once you lose Laylee, you lose your midair little hover thing, so you'd have to literally not take it. I don't know if Laylee has any. If you can re-get them throughout the level or not, like the main
Yeah, I don't know.
levels.
Maybe
It
50%
was like
in
how
or something. I don't know.
it's like how everyone chose Dixie Kong in Tropical Freeze just because that extra jump, which
Oh yeah,
just
for sure.
And if you want to be
Yeah.
a little bit harder, some of the levels you play as Cranky and kind of made it as like a difficulty setting almost, where it made it harder, just by the choice of character.
What about funky mode, yo? Funky Kong.
Easy mode.
And but no, I think it's absolutely great, and I love the idea that you just keep going back. I don't know if later on maybe it would be kind of stale, you repeating the same long ass level. I don't know, because there's going to be no checkpoints. It's just one.
It's gonna feel like
level.
Champions Road on 3D World. I have a feeling.
But Champions Road is definitely shorter than the layer.
Yeah.
Like way shorter.
Well, it's stupid
again,
too.
I
Is
got 15% into the layer, something like that, and it's
That's
just
pretty
it's
far.
long. It's pretty long though.
Well, I hadn't even figured out the buttons for whatever reason. Cause I think it's because Yuka's green and he reminds me of Yoshi. I keep pressing Y to throw his tongue out, and I rolled right into stuff and died instantly in that level because it was. I mean, literally, you barely play anything and it throws you right into it. So I was like, I just kept pressing Y for some reason when I shouldn't be, and I rolled into my death, and it counted as a turn. Like, oh, you played the impossible layer once. I'm like, really? That counts?
so someone needs to show you a picture of a bat and a velociraptor so you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now I got the controls figured out. I think if I'd probably do all right. And there's, with 10, I can take 10 hits now, or 11. I got 11 of the battalion bees or whatever they're called that take the hits for you.
And it's trial and error.
I think I'm exactly
Yeah.
where you're at.
Area.
I think I'm where you're at too, because I have 11 or 14 like bees or something.
But I went back. I 100%ed through chapter 6 now.
Okay.
But the first level doesn't have a second version at this point. So,
Which is cool that there's second versions. Of
yeah,
levels, though.
and
Jesus,
I'm like, what the hell? Why can't I get up here? Well, then when you play the level on the second playthrough, it's like, oh, now I can access this area, and it takes you to a whole new area. So it, in one hand, it's a little bit of a shortcut for making the game longer, but the levels feel so different. The
Yeah.
alterations feel different
Yeah.
enough where it's not like you just feel like you're playing the same level the second time. So
yeah, there's one where you're like going backwards and it's really fast, and there's like a laser chasing you and shit. It's really cool.
all right, so let's get to. I'm just gonna read this trivia question since everybody know that it's so one-sided. So the Juice is Loose podcast trivia question number 8. In 1988, Nintendo released the NES Power Set bundle, which included 3 games on a single cart. 2 of the games were Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt, but what was the third game? Was it Punch Out, Kung Fu, World Class Track Meet, or Ice Hockey? Robert, did you guess? And do you have an answer?
I did. I picked Punch Out.
What about you, Terrell?
I didn't even fucking see that question.
What year did it come out?
88.
Oh.
You wanna answer real quick?
Give me the was it a Twitter poll?
Yeah, it's in the live chat. I can put it in the Hangouts too.
Let me look at it real quick.
Do you guys
go to someone else while I'm looking
Yeah.
at it?
Well, I know. I'm guessing everybody else knows the answer, but I'm wondering, did you guys even get the Power Set in Europe? Or
No, because
UK?
I completely missed this. No, I lie. I did see it, but I forgot to answer it. But I don't remember this at all. So I'm just gonna take a guess. I'm looking at it now, and what was it, 1988? Fuck.
I'm gonna say world class track meet for me.
And it's it's the NES version I had. That's why I thought of the question.
2 of the games were Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt.
So yeah, I
What
missed
was
that.
the third one? God, 2 of the games. I don't. There's no way they throw Punch Out in there as well. So I'll go with World Class Track Meet. Why not?
Retro, do you know or have a guess? Oh, you knew. You
No,
said
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
I think it's world class track meet.
So
I think that's a good answer.
the other part of the bundle, we got the zapper, was the Power Pad. If that helps answer the question.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You remember the Power Pad?
Yeah, the big
That
one. Okay,
stupid
so
mat you put on the ground had.
now I know. So I'm right.
And you had to run in place and shake the shit out of your house while you're running, doing track.
Too
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, it was a world-class track meet. So 53% guessed correct, 21% said Punch Out, 19 Kung Fu.
Yeah, after I guessed that, I looked up and I was like, ah, shit. All right, whatever.
I almost guessed Punch Out, and I was like, wait a minute. Because that seems like a Nintendo pick, and especially by the time 88 happened, it's like, oh, we got our money from Kung Fu already. Let's go ahead and throw that in there.
Yeah,
I
was
think
hoping
there's
to throw
different
people off.
Kung Fu
varieties
as well.
though.
Hmm?
I think there's a version that instead of it has Tetris on it.
Yeah, I think there was another one that had 3 games, and Tetris was the third. But the thing is that the Power Pad, no matter what, came with world-class
Yeah.
track meet. Even if you just bought the Power Pad, I already had a Nintendo NES.
And nobody I knew used it right. They'd get down on the floor and use their hands.
Yep. It worked best on a cement floor, though, because then it didn't shake
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole freaking
yeah.
house. All right, so the other poll question I'll link in case people didn't see that one. This one could be controversial. I'm just looking at Google, Wikipedia. I'll get to it after. We'll get to this first question from last week, or actually from 2 weeks ago. Miguel Rose, and I think most of us should be prepared. To follow up the question he asked about your favorite game from each Nintendo home console, what is your favorite game from each of Nintendo's handheld systems? And Retro kind of pointed out that the Game Boy Color had some exclusive games, so if you want to have the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color separate, go ahead. If you want to join them together, that's fine. For me,
I'm always the one making shit annoying.
yeah.
You just like to be a fucking antagonist. You're the fucking evil villain of the goddamn podcast.
Jeez.
I'll start, and I got a quick story. I knew 2 people that had the Game Boy. It was my friend. He could have had, I forget if it was the Genesis or Super Nintendo or a Game Boy, and his mom and him traveled all over for art craft shows, so he chose a Game Boy. So I think it came with Tetris. He had Super Mario Land 1, and I can't remember the third game he had, but those were the 3 games he had. And then my other friend's mom had a Game Boy, and I played Link's Awakening for about an hour on the original Game Boy, and that's the only time I played it. So I picked Tetris for the Game Boy just because it's the one I played the most.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my aunt had a Game Boy too. All she had was Tetris. Game Boy Color, I picked Link's Awakening DX, which I played on the 3DS about 4 or 5 years ago. Never owned one, never seen a Game Boy Color actually in person. I know it was a hot item for Christmas the year it came out. That's all I remember. Game Boy Advance, Metroid Fusion. That one was pretty easy. The DS, I picked Mario Kart DS, even though that was a little tougher choice. And then the 3DS, A Link Between Worlds. And then Switch, Breath of the Wild. So
Oh shit! Yes, Switch, yo.
Count Switch as a handheld.
I just
I
counted.
didn't know we were.
I counting it.
Get out.
We're saying
wanted
Switch again.
I wanted to add the Switch to fuck around, but you actually seriously had it on your list.
It was on the last list, but I figured for the hell of it. So who wants to go next? Clock.
I'll go then.
I just about to say.
Where are the crickets at? God damn.
Sorry, who's going? Is it me?
Clocked it.
Yeah,
Go
go.
ahead.
Okay, for the original Game Boy, it was tough, but I'm gonna just go with Link's Awakening. I could have thrown Mario Land or Mario Land 2 or Shadow Warriors in there, but Link's Awakening for sure. Game Boy Advance, another tough one for me. I would fucking change my mind on this shit. I'm gonna rule out Metroid Fusion as much as I loved it. Minish Cap I loved. WarioWare on the Game Boy.
Just pick one, Robert.
It's between Golden Sun, the original, or Advance Wars Black Hole Rising. I'm going to go with Advance Wars Black Hole Rising just because I played that the most. It's so fucking good. So Advance Wars Black Hole Rising. For the DS, Chinatown Wars. I nearly picked Radiant Historia, but I'm going to go with Chinatown Wars because I fucking love that game on the DS. And for the 3DS, I think this was quite easy for me. I'm going to pick Animal Crossing New Leaf because I just played that the most. So yeah.
All right.
if I was going to pick the Game Boy Color, even though it's not a Game Boy Color exclusive game, I would pick Harvest Moon. Could I play that on the Game Boy Color? The most. That's it.
All right. What about you, Retro?
On the original Game Boy, I picked Final Fantasy Legend 3. I think it was from the Saga series, but already just call it Final Fantasy. That game is just huge, and it's the biggest Game Boy game I know. Like traveling through time, you're putting together a spaceship and a crew. I fucking love that game. On the Game Boy Color, I chose Pokemon Gold, which is still my favorite Pokemon game. On the Game Boy Advance, I did choose the original Golden Sun. It's just graphically and shit, the way it's fucking amazing, that game.
Yeah.
On the DS, I have Professor Layton and the Unwound Future, which is the third Professor Layton game, which is my favorite so far. I think I'm playing the fifth now. It's one of my favorite franchises. I love it's one of the most atmospheric franchises there is. I love that series. On the 3DS, I hate Clucked for saying New Leaf because I wasn't thinking of New Leaf, but I'll just go with what I wrote down because I played New Leaf to death. And I barely can play it anymore at this point. So on the 3DS, I picked Theater and Final Fantasy Curtain Call.
It's a really good game.
All right. Terrell, do you even have one for the earlier handheld?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's funny. It's a game that for the original Game Boy. It's funny. I never played it on the Game Boy. I played it on the Game Boy Color because that was my first handheld.
Mhm.
But it counts, and I'm surprised I never bring it up. It's Super Mario Land. That one. It's weird. It's like one of the only Mario games I've beaten, and I fucking like never bring it up. It's so weird. I don't even know how I own that game. It's so that game is just a weird thing for me.
Mario Land 1 is awesome.
It's such a good game. Yeah. Also has Best Girl Daisy in it, so there was already 10 out of 10 for me.
Daisy's trash,
Now the
dude.
truth comes out.
Daisy's trash.
I didn't my Daisy bias apparently was around for a while without me even realizing it. Game Boy Color, it's Pokemon Silver. That was my first Pokemon game. So that one will always be my favorite Game Boy Color game. Game Boy Advance is kind of hard, but considering what I'll end up picking for later consoles, for right now, I'll say it's Sonic Advance 2. For DS was fucking hard. I wanted to give it to World Ends With You. I really did. That or Sonic Rush, but what it's gonna be is Pokemon Black and White because I'm a biased piece of shit.
At least you're admitting it.
Well, it is your favorite, Joe.
Yeah. See, the problem is I feel like World Ends With You needs the more praise, but god damn it, Black and White is my favorite Pokemon game, so I can't not give it to it. And then 3DS, it's another situation.
Pokemon Sun and Moon.
No, it's not. It's actually not.
Fire
It's
Emblem.
Omega Ruby.
My two issues. It was between Fire Emblem Fates and fucking Kid Icarus Uprising. I love that fucking game, but I've put way more hours in the fucking Fates. So it's Fire Emblem Fates, and if we're doing Switch, Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
All right.
Robert, what about you?
All right. Well, again, if people don't know, I've missed so many games on the handheld because I just don't play these handhelds like that. It just they're so fucking tiny, bro. We need them on a TV. But basically, the Game Boy, I probably played less than 10 games. I'd say Super Mario Land again. The DS, there's a lot of games that I should have played on the DS that, especially I was a kid and I picked up some games, but I picked up probably more games that you wouldn't normally buy that I should have, but whatever.
No Game Boy Advance?
Game Boy Advance, I don't even remember Game Boy Advance games. I remember having it. I have no clue. I'll be honest, I really don't remember in the slightest. The DS, I would put Flipnote Studio. Not even like one of the maybe a Mario game or something. It's just for me, Flipnote Studio. I used super often on my DSi, and yes, technically DSi, but it's so good. And I remember I would make a ton of flip notes, and I loved watching every day other people's flip notes and what they made, and it was just one of my favorite things. And I wish they brought it back for Wii U, and they never did. And that was such a shame. And then for 3DS, I have a few more. I have 3D Land, New Leaf, Smash 3DS, and Tamagotchi Life. Surprisingly, I actually loved Tamagotchi Life.
It's a really good game.
That's a game I did not expect in the slightest to love, and then I started playing. Like, I think I played almost 100 hours of that. I was like, "What the fuck? How did I play so much Tamagotchi Life?" And that was amazing until I got Smash. Obviously, then I played a ton of Smash. And then
for a month.
For a month, but still within that month, dude, I got over 150 hours. So
Really? I don't think I hit like.
I had
30.
a ton of hours and the demo
Pull up my
alone.
3DS. Fuck this shit.
Dude, the demo alone, I had over 24 hours in. I remember that.
I had 10.
So that's why, like, I loved the Smash 3DS until Wii U came out and then went in the garbage. But then Switch, obviously again, Breath of the Wild, Smash Ultimate, Odyssey. I mean,
Why can't Robert pick one thing? You just can't do it.
Jesus Christ.
It's tough, dude. How can I say between
You
my
can't.
babies? Who's
All right,
This is pretty difficult.
Oh,
right,
and I
T.
forgot. Wait, I forgot. Also
No, you've
the
had
Switch-
enough answers.
No, you didn't.
The
T.
Switch also New Horizons.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and people smash that like button if you're watching. Let's get some likes up in here. And
What the hell?
I
I went to go grab my. I went to go
You
grab
want to
my
pay the
3DS.
bills? You want to pay the bills, T? Why don't you go over your list and hopefully you can name one game for each system.
I will. So we doing handheld and then is that how it's
We already named the Switch the last time we answered this question, so just the handhelds, Nintendo handhelds.
All right, so for Game Boy OG, this was tough, but I'm going with Kirby's Dream Land.
Oh, such a good game.
That's fair. That's fair.
Game Boy Color, Link's Awakening. That's kind of a cheat, but that's where I'm gonna roll.
I kind of wish I did the
Because I had
same.
to get Link's Awakening in and get Kirby, so at the same time. So, all right, and then GBA, easy, Metroid Fusion, DS, Mario Kart 7 Mario Kart DS as well. Played the hell out of it.
So we got three in a row here, are of the same.
Do we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you got Metroid Fusion too. Yeah, that's right. Louis, I already gave away. 3DS is Luigi's Dark Moon. I think that game is phenomenal. Love it to
Got
death.
out that shit. God damn it.
And that's it for the handhelds, right? So,
Yeah,
NES. These are so tough.
you gave these. We already gave the console ones a couple weeks ago.
I didn't though.
You didn't?
That was last week.
I think it was.
No.
It was just off the top of our. We kind of just came up with them as we went.
I don't
wasn't
remember
planned.
doing it at all.
Yeah, I still have mine written down. If you
I didn't
wanna-
write it down, so I know I didn't.
If
do
you
it.
want to recap it, go ahead.
Well, maybe if I did anything, there's definitely probably some changes here. But NES, I went with Ninja Gaiden 2. Like that was because I could have went with the games that were like, oh, me and my uncles and cousins, we all played together,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been something like Contra or something like that. But I was like, the solo experience that blew my mind on NES, that would be Ninja Gaiden 2.
Ninja Gaiden.
SNES, I didn't pick one, but it has to be linked to the Past. Easy, pretty much. N64, Ocarina of Time, GameCube, Metroid Prime, Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, Wii U, Xenoblade Xenoblade Chronicles
Xenoblade.
Wait,
Xenoblade Chronicles X,
wait, go, we can wait.
and Switch Mario Odyssey.
All right, so that was a good question though. If I have played more of the other consoles, we could. I don't know how everyone else is, but I've had a decent amount of the other consoles, but I don't think we could really do as good of a list of like
I know Robert couldn't.
Xbox consoles or.
Well, I couldn't even.
I can
join
do the 360. That shit.
But so
Sega consoles, let's go.
Sardonic Pickle asks, any of you getting Ring Fit Adventure?
Hells yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I thought about
No way.
I'm picking that shit up,
Nope.
dude. That looks good.
you better believe it.
I don't want to be that sore after playing video games.
Yeah, I'm trying to get fucking.
What do you do with that ring?
it.
I'll tell you, I enjoyed.
trying to fit something in your ring. Or something.
That's gonna be a fun one to watch because
Squeeze it tight.
Jess from Mojo Plays got to try it at an event, and it was pretty entertaining watching.
I'm gonna definitely do a
Yeah, I want to stream
that
it
shit.
for sure. Like,
Yeah, yo.
full
I
body
can't
cam.
remember a
2.5
podcast where
hours
Juice.
of craziness.
I can't remember a podcast where Juice didn't mention Just Jazz.
Come on, that's like only like the second
He's
time.
So biased. He's so biased.
It's only like the second
Yeah,
time.
I think he might be
He might be thinking sometimes.
exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. It is retro. All right, so the other trivia question, which didn't get a lot of traction, a lot of votes, and this one could be controversial with some research. It might prove to be kind of the answer might be wrong, but according to Wikipedia, I searched Intelligent Systems, what games they were involved in and worked on. So they're known for Fire Emblem series, but the question is, which of these games did they not work on? Battalion Wars, Super Metroid, Super Paper Mario, and WarioWare Gold. So Robert, what's your answer?
I said shit. I'm trying to look real quick what I said. Hold on, give me one. It was Super Metroid.
All right, Terrell, what do you think the answer?
Super Metroid.
Retro Death.
I had no fucking idea. I gambled Super Paper Mario.
A T
I picked Battalion Wars.
and
What?
clocked it.
Yeah, this was a hard one. I sorry to stretch it out a bit, but this is a hard one because I'm sure they've worked on pretty much all the WarioWare games and the Paper Mario games, apart from maybe Paper Mario 64. I can't remember if that was just Nintendo or as well as Intelligent Systems. So the tricky one for me was Super Metroid and Battalion Wars. Now, I remember always saying that Battalion Wars was like a 3D Advance Wars, and this is what threw me off. So I thought, why Super Metroid in there? So I wrote off Super Metroid and picked Battalion Wars because I reckon Super Metroid is the tricky one, which they actually did work on, and I don't actually know if they did, and I could be completely fucking wrong with it.
True, that's
So
why I
I
picked it too.
chose Battalion Wars because
That's a
Super
good way to
Metroid
think of
just
it.
seems
Yeah.
so random. And
That's exactly why I picked it.
yeah. And
I thought WarioWare Gold-
interested in the answer. I am interested in the answer.
For me, WarioWare and Super Metroid were both like, why are those two games in there? But I didn't know they had anything to do with that series.
so
Oh,
it
yeah.
did shit.
So the 5% guessed WarioWare, 26% guessed Paper Mario, 26% guessed Battalion Wars, and 42% guessed Super Metroid. But according to Wikipedia, the answer is Battalion Wars.
What? We clocked it. We
I was
did it.
lucky.
They're listed as a developer for Super Metroid. Now,
Super Metroid.
I don't
really?
know if that was the Virtual Console version.
I don't think that's true.
I know.
They
God,
are
I-
listed.
I gotta Google that now.
So you
I
got
don't
to.
believe that.
It counts. Shut up.
But it wasn't
I went-
released.
I went back and Googled it, and I didn't see
There
anything.
wasn't a remake or anything listed. It was only the Virtual Console versions and the emulated versions on that we have now. So I don't know why they would have got credit for just doing a Virtual Console version of it. But if that's
That
true,
would be weird.
it's kind of sucks that. But I was throwing this together, and I didn't really think. If they're listed.
Because they did Advance Wars, right?
Yep. They did all the
Yeah, they
Advance
did
Wars.
Advance Wars, and I'm thinking,
That's why I thought
Yeah,
Battalion
no,
Wars.
Wars.
Sure,
I'm
they-
reading it now. So in Wikipedia, it says that they handled the programming of the game.
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm
Did
thinking,
you
I'm
do it?
pretty
Yeah.
sure they didn't do Battalion Wars, which is basically the.
I thought
GameCube
that would be the
3D
one
version.
where like, oh, Battalion Wars for sure was them. Super Paper.
Yeah, that's like another dev.
I-
Like,
I was thinking of-
Though?
I was basically thinking of Game Freak with Pokemon games. Like they don't do any of the console, or they didn't do any of the console ones back in the days.
Oh fuck!
And
I
that's
know
what
I
made
did.
me think, yeah, they probably just handled the handheld stuff, and Nintendo had somebody else
I didn't know that either. I thought
Third
it was.
party.
I thought they for sure did.
They're
Battalion.
even listed for the original Metroid. as
Yeah,
a
they
developer.
co-developed. Yeah, they co-developed the original
They
Metroid.
co-developed it, yeah. So that
Yeah.
made I remember that, and that like they probably did Super Metroid at that point, right?
Yo, these
So-
dudes got their hand in a lot of shit.
So what I
dude.
want the
Yeah.
point, or one thing I want to point out, this is the first, maybe the second trivia question where the answer wasn't the majority of what the majority of people thought. I've been struggling coming up with questions that was where the answer.
And what that also says is people aren't cheating,
yeah,
so that's good.
Because I mean, if you look this up before you answer them, that's just stupid.
I don't know why
you're not
cheating.
winning nothing.
Yeah,
Just
we
kinda
were talking about this, folks. You know, as you can see with the podcast, is no one's name gets called out or anything. It's just a fun question for everyone just to try and answer off the top of their heads.
Yeah.
And and it's you can see that there's things that we all struggle on. Even with our
Yeah.
collective knowledge between all of us. So
I
probably
skated by
won't
with this
do
one. I got lucky on this one.
If somebody would have
so did I.
said,
I think it was just an educational guess more than anything else.
Right.
If somebody
You
would've-
did what I did. We broke it down. Like we eliminated the.
yeah, and you guys got to try to think about it from that perspective. And as the person who comes up with the poll with the trivia, I have to think of it from the perspective of what are people going to fall for? What are they going to think if I put this game? If I put Super Metroid on there, they're gonna be like, well, why is that on there? That's too obvious for it to be the right answer. But then, so I was like, I got to find another game that they did work on that's just as out there. And I thought WarioWare was the one, but that got the least amount of votes. So it
WarioWare
was
was
cheeky bastard.
It was too recent. That was the problem. It was too recent.
because I knew I wanted Battalion Wars to be the one that wasn't.
See, I was thinking of Advance Wars when I read it, and I think that's what fucked me.
Well,
up.
I would have just assumed they did Battalion Wars. I didn't know.
I thought it was for a minute. I thought it was the same series. That's what fucked me up.
I mean, they kind of wanted it to be, but in 3D. But so.
And it got Terrell in the background talking about no what. But when people were
The
guessing
Paper Mario one, I thought was the
and
the
you didn't
most
have the right
accurate.
answer, mother.
Well, the Super Paper Mario was such a change from
But
the
in
other
all
series.
this done the majority of that.
I knew
series.
that. I remember.
They did. They've
I
literally
completely
done. I think
remember
it's
that.
almost
I've
every
done
game.
every single one.
Yeah,
they-
but
Yeah.
that one played almost more like a 2D platform. That's why I thought that would, if I had to pick something that was, they're known for the series, but maybe the one that would give people the most question because that played so different compared to
But this is why I said because I loved Advanced Wars, and like I said, I remember saying at the time that I thought Battalion Wars was almost like a 3D version of Advanced Wars, and I started getting into my head that it was Intelligent Systems, and I half remembered that it wasn't them. So I think that kind of is why I tipped it towards that. Plus with Metroid being there, I thought this is a bit too crazy.
I picked it because I knew they were a mostly 2D developer at that point, and they mostly did handheld at that point. So I'm like, if I'm looking at the Pokemon model again, like Game Freak didn't make the Pokemon games on the consoles at that point. It was another company. Who was it?
Genius Sorority.
Yeah, Genius. So I knew they were doing that, and I'm like, Nintendo would probably do that with everybody. They wouldn't make them make a console game when they weren't comfortable with that stuff yet. So I was like, that's most likely the one. Battalion Wars.
It was a good one, though. Tricky.
Yeah,
it was good. It was
I was
good.
glad
Yeah,
that I wish
think of
could have got more participation on that one because I think it's one of the better ones. But all right, the next question is from probably my favorite viewer of the podcast. His name's Terminator Juice, and he asked, "Does Breath of the Wild 2 need to have the cooking mechanic in it? And if yes, if so, why? If not, why?"
I gotta say definitely because I used it all the time.
Shut the fuck up.
Nah, I mean for me, to me, it's just it's a neat little thing that why not? Yeah, sure, keep it in there.
Yeah, well,
Does it need to
operative
be in
word
there?
here is need.
Yeah, honestly,
No, I guess not.
I don't think it needs to be in there.
It doesn't need it.
It was cool. You could make some recipes and get some really boosts and stuff. But if they didn't have it and they had something like you just find food and eat it that give you properties, I'd be just as happy.
So I was gonna give an answer and then started off with saying it doesn't need it, but because you guys said that, now I'm gonna change my intro. I'm gonna say it does need it, because the main thing I like about Breath of the Wild is the fact how it's so free and open and dynamic, and a big part for me is just the fact that there is something everywhere, stuff to forage, to find, and I feel the recipes was a great way to put all that stuff to use. So if you don't use cooking, half of that stuff you could actually hunt boars and shit in the forest, and that just becomes absolutely pointless then, I feel. So I think it needs it just to keep the world more alive.
I want to answer right behind him to dispel everything he just said. No, I'm just messing around. But seriously though, a couple of days ago, I probably would have felt the same way. But I just started playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm like, and again, the operative word is need. I'm like, the way they handle health and all that stuff is pretty good. You can still hunt, and you get certain buffs from different animals or
Yeah, I remember there was a big I was always hunting for animals. I can't remember why now, but
right. So it has that in it. So again, if we're going with need, no, I mean, I think it's very intuitive the way Horizon handles it. So no, you don't need the cooking mechanic. I don't think it's nice. It's cool what it does, but I think you can find something a little bit more streamlined even, and it will work just fine.
yeah, because I remember hunting damn rabbits for like a half hour in fucking Horizon. I couldn't tell you what they were for, if it was like a side.
I don't know
quest
yet.
or
I haven't
something.
played that much, but yeah, I know different animals have different attributes and stuff. So,
All right, anybody else want to give an answer? Or?
Yeah, I will. I don't think it needs it, but I think it will return. I think it'd be more streamlined. But I mean, Zelda's essentially always had ways to heal yourself, hasn't it? Whether you find choo-choo jellies or whatever in order to make potions and stuff. Wind Waker and all that stuff. So I think they'll return it. I'll miss it if it's not there. It depends what else they include. Because I did enjoy it, and my wife really enjoyed it as well. But yeah, I'll definitely miss it. But I don't think it needs it, but I do think it'll return. I really do, because they'll streamline it plus flesh it out, make it more meaningful. I feel.
Okay.
So yeah.
Terrell, I know you didn't, wasn't your favorite. You liked it, but I don't know if you're as excited about the sequel as us. So I guess I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Specifically on the cooking, I'm pretty indifferent to it. I don't feel like it needs it. The weird thing is, I feel like the way Enuma could do this, it'd be one of those things where like I don't need it. I feel like I don't need it now because of how it was implemented now. But then the next game could easily turn into something where I'm like, I need cooking in every game moving forward. Like it's a weird situation. I personally don't need it, but I do think it added to the immersion. So in that way, I would say it's needed.
All right, and I was gonna ask, and we can kind of piggyback on this. Does Breath of the Wild 2 need climbing anywhere mechanic?
What? Of course. That, yeah, hell yeah.
They take that away. I'm crazy.
Yeah, dude, if you take that away, it's automatically worse than the first one. It's not
Yeah.
even-
That's
Again, after playing Horizon Zero Dawn recently.
Yeah, that's true. They could
Oh,
maybe.
Are you just running in the walls and like, fuck, I can't jump up 2 feet.
I'd like
The
to
game
see it
pisses me
rain
off 'cause
less.
It starts with what's her name, Aloy and other
Aloy.
characters jumping around, climbing shit all the time. And I'm like, when the game starts, you can't do none of that.
You
shit.
can climb if there's a yellow marker on the
Yeah,
wall.
right. You can climb. You find the
Where's
Uncharted
that yellow marker so I can
vines.
climb up this tree?
But it's just like this game, being the type of character you are, especially, you should be able to do all kind of climbing all over the
It's
place.
that disconnect between cutscene and gameplay.
I wonder if the
Yeah.
sequel will
Why can
have
I
it.
do that in the cutscene, but I can't do that when I'm playing the game?
Yeah,
Right.
That's
remember this
legit
is the sequel, man. If they take that away, then it's not Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's legit the reason why I didn't play Horizon Zero Dawn yet, because I was playing Breath of the Wild, and I was like, you know what? I want to play something else. I'm going to start Horizon Zero Dawn. So I started playing it, and I was so annoyed by the fact that she couldn't even step on a ledge that was as high as her fucking knee. And I was like, I can't play this right now, so I got to wait maybe like a year before I can even start thinking of playing that, because Breath of the Wild just ruined that shit for me.
Retro, that's literally my same issue with God of War. I was like, I can't have this man who was out here jumping 20 feet in the air. Fucking, my son needs to drop down a ladder so I can come up.
Yeah.
It's
And
insane.
then it's weird because later on in the game you'll see him climbing fucking like the side of a cliff and shit. But you couldn't just jump up too, man. Get the fuck out of here.
That's,
Yeah,
that's just
that's
lazy
true,
game
That's
design.
true,
to me.
Yeah,
That's just lazy.
that's definitely an element that just takes you out of it. And then you just run up to the ledge. You just Mario run into the wall, like an invisible wall, until you hit the X button to do the jump animation.
Don't get me started on that God of War shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
And it only works if it's a gap you
It's
can
cinematic,
jump.
man. It's cinematic.
If it's a gap you can't jump, it doesn't want you to jump. You just sit there and you hit the X button. Nothing happens. He doesn't even try to jump.
It's one of my biggest complaints in games like that. You know, when a character does things that you can't, does things in the cutscenes that you can't do.
Metal Gear
in the
Solid.
game.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. I had something in my throat.
What did you say? I think, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
He was trying to keep quiet and he couldn't. help
Snake's
it.
doing all this fucking
He had a
Matrix
good gem in
shit,
his throat. He
and
had
then
to
when you
clear it up.
control him, you get the 3-punch combo is all you get with him.
You're running like you have a petrified turd in your ass.
Man, I am not.
That to me is one of the most worst offenders of what you're describing, where they show him to be the most athletic, badass fighter, and then when you actually control him, he's like absolutely worthless.
He's like that cardboard he hides in. Can't do shit.
But yeah, so the next question, I'm not gonna give the answer. I will give some runners up or some games in contention. But he asked Dave97, what's your game of the year so far, and what upcoming 2019 game could surpass it? So I'm gonna start by saying my 2019 game of the year plans got shot in the dick with Doom Eternal. Got delayed till March 20th. My whole winter gaming plans got fucked. So that was definitely going to be in the runner, in the contention. As it stands right now, I would say I don't think there's another game coming out that's going to contend with the ones that are contenders. So I'll just name the 3 games that have a chance. That's Resident Evil 2, Trials Rising, and Mario Maker 2. Right now, I haven't played Yooka-Laylee enough to have that in the discussion, but yeah, those are the 3 that I would be choosing from.
What the fuck came out at the beginning of this year? That's what I'm trying to remind myself of.
Shit.
Devil May Cry,
Kingdom Hearts 3,
RE2,
yo, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Metro Exodus.
So if you guys don't want to give away what your game of the year is right now, it's fine. Just if some that you're thinking about.
I could talk about some on the list, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess for me it'd probably be, I'm trying to remember everything. I want to say Fire Emblem's one. I want to put Cuphead on there, even though I know technically that's not a 2019
Yeah,
game.
that shit ain't coming. Get that shit out of there.
Get that shit out.
Listen to me,
Get
yo.
that shit out of here.
I fucking played that game way too much when it came out on Switch, and it became an addiction. But fine, if we're sticking to that, then it'd probably be Fire Emblem, probably Dragon Quest. But that one's kind of up in the air because I haven't played. Well, actually, does that count considering that's also technically not a...
Well, but it came out in Japan, right? It's different.
No, it came out in the U.S. for
yeah, it came
PS4
out
last year. The
It
same
came out
time.
last year.
Oh yeah. True. No, that doesn't
Yes.
count.
I mean, if you didn't have a better choice, and it's not like
I don't-
it's strict rules, but that's technically a 2018 game.
Yeah, technically.
Because you could have played on PS4.
That
last
just
year.
shows you how much we got this year.
It's a situation of more so like I haven't played enough
it's
of
not
the
that
2019 titles for me to really. The only other 2019 title I would even put on there is probably like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which
Well,
I played.
that
Yeah, I know.
the
That's
game
not
coming
contender.
up is gonna really challenge
I
any of
couldn't
those.
I think right now it's probably Fire Emblem, and potentially it could be Pokemon, but we'll see.
Dude, it blows my mind that you played. I was listening to your thing, yo. I can't believe you played 110 hours or some shit already of Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, I have 110 hours. Haven't even beat any of the fucking storyline.
God damn, dude. Holy-
I'm almost done, but Jesus Christ, dude, it's an experience.
I don't know what
I
you're
think
doing. You haven't beaten it yet.
Because
I think my
there are multiple endings.
Some people don't just run straight through the game, right?
I know, but like
Front door to the back door and shit.
That's crazy.
First off, Robert, there are multiple endings, and 2, I started
Yeah,
deep
yeah.
on my second playthrough while in the middle of my first playthrough. Things got convoluted. RPGs take a while, god
For
damn.
sure. I
All right,
get it.
Retro. What do you got?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think my problem with 2019 is not that there haven't been enough games. It's just budgetary reasons. I barely played everything I wanted to play. I still didn't even have like Borderlands 3 and shit.
Really?
For now, I have Mario Maker 2 on my list, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm expecting Luigi's Mansion 3 to be it at the end.
Yeah, there's a chance. I would say.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anyone
Well,
else?
Yeah. At this
Oh.
point,
Why'd you sign?
you know, it's because it's just like I've played like not enough hours of the games that I think are gonna get there.
Yeah.
I feel like Astral Chain, depending on how it ends, will probably be a contender.
I really like the end. I know Juice didn't love it as much.
I don't mind the end.
Oh,
The last
think
boss was
the-
stupid, but
I think T has the opposite problem of me. T literally bought all the games
I got
this
too much
year, but he
shit.
can't play them all.
I literally have.
So
I've
either
been
way,
playing too
you
much shit.
lose.
So I'm gonna pick the game I've been playing the most this year. Panzer Dragoon 2 on Sega Saturn.
Fuck
What?
outta
That's
here,
not
yo.
fair. I can't use that one as a pick. But,
Classic.
I mean,
but I'm probably it's probably gonna be Luigi's Mansion 3 if it's anywhere near as good as it looks. So.
I'm gonna pick Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition on Switch for sure.
Well, I'm gonna go with Witcher 3 then. Fuck you.
Yeah, I think that's my other problem. I spent a lot of this year fucking like playing older games. Like I played
Catching up.
Spider-Man earlier, and Spider-Man was fucking great. But that's not a 2019 game.
Yeah,
yeah, you just missed it, because to be fair, it
Now
came out later last year.
yeah. Now I'm like my November December's completely wide open, so I'm gonna have to do some back
Is,
catalog.
Has Detroit become human this year? No, it's not.
Yeah, wasn't it earlier?
What?
Was it?
Wait, which
What?
one?
Detroit Become Human. Is that this year?
No, that wasn't this year. No,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was last year.
that was like, I
What
think
was,
that was
Days
85.
Gone was the.
Days Gone was this year.
Days Gone was this
Well,
year.
you know, I thought those two came
What
out
about
close
Death
together.
Stranding, Juice?
Death Stranding
Yeah.
has a chance.
No, it was Detroit. Detroit came out before Spider-Man even.
Detroit came out 2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Time just goes by fast. That's the
I
thing.
can't. I swore that was earlier this year, but now that you say it, it's like fuck. That's,
Yeah, that was
I can't
before
believe it's
Spider-Man.
been over a year. Yeah.
The only other, actually, I probably would put Resident Evil 2 on mine which I'll probably beat that in the next few weeks.
I'll say my game that, I mean, for right now is for me pretty much the clear winner. I mean,
Borderlands.
it could be either one, but right now it's Borderlands 3. Yo. I've been
Borderlands. I was gonna say Borderlands 2. If I played
been-
this year, it's probably gonna be up there too.
I think I'm more baffled that Retro doesn't have it. That's what blows me away.
it's a game that I've just been fucking loving, and it's a game that I would play the side missions, and I have been. And you know, I don't love playing side missions, but this one, the side missions feel just as fun and funny as the main missions.
I
And
just hate putting money in Randy Bitchford's pockets.
Ooh!
That's just-
I also
you know,
heard
like-
that game was kind of buggy as hell as launch.
which is so odd for me, at least. I encounter no bugs, like literally not one. So
Really?
You say that about every game, though.
What?
Literally, I think you
Robert, you
literally
also-
say that about every game.
Yeah, Robert,
There's no bugs. In
I
any
don't see
games
any
I
bugs. I haven't seen any bugs in
That's
Fallout
not
4.
true. That's
I
not
didn't see
true.
any Fallout 4 bugs.
No, that's not true though.
You
You
said
said that,
you
though.
slapped.
Okay, no, but I literally have it. Do you want me to make up the bug that I saw?
Yeah, but
but
He's
You want me to lie?
impervious.
I can't lie to you.
the whole thing is though, if you in the back of the backlogs, I talk about glitches that I encounter, yo. but I will say that I think one that may have a chance to getting up there is Ukulele. I do, and also Luigi Mansion 3 potentially.
Yeah.
So those two are the ones that, like, when I finish Ukulele, because I love the platformer, and then also Luigi Mansion 3 has a chance at maybe, if it is fucking amazing. You never know.
What about Avengers comes out next year, right?
That's next
What else
year.
is there a big multiplat coming out that's not a Call of Duty?
Star Wars. I'm looking for.
Oh,
Star
that's the
Wars,
one
right?
I was. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Is that
Star Wars, maybe. You know, to be fair, honestly, yeah. I mean, you know, I'm a Star Wars
That last
guy.
trailer actually looked really good.
That shit, if it's really good, dude, I'm not gonna lie. That shit has a huge chance of being human.
That's
Coming
gonna
out
be
this
7-hour trash.
Didn't the
I have
Uncharted?
faith in Respawn, yo. I have
Didn't
faith
the
in-
lady that did Uncharted? Did she? No, she went to work on that canceled project.
No,
so
they
that.
can't.
Yeah.
1313 was her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
So
I've already got a game of the year, and
Mhm.
it's Untitled Goose. So,
Hey,
You go, boy.
have you beat it yet?
hey, Clark, cut that shit out. How dare you?
You can beat that game in one
Have you
sit.
done one
Untitled-
to-do list
Untitled
item yet?
I've completed the game now, yeah,
Did you?
but no, it's not my game of the year. I kind of like retro when you're in some of the other boys where I haven't got around to playing everything. I haven't got Fire Emblem yet. I do want to play Resident Evil 2. You know, I do want to play Resi 2. But I'm also in the agreement where Luigi's Mansion 3 could take it for me. but I do love Astral Chain and Mario Maker 2. You know, they both been great games. So
That's one thing I'll say is that like with you too is like I agree, like Mario Maker, Astral Chain, like those games are pretty high up on my list. It's just I don't think they're gonna take the game of the year.
yeah, Luigi can get there, and I haven't played Borderlands either. So I'm a few games behind in terms of what I did want to play this year. But yeah, it's.
I want to put this in perspective for those who like just this week coming. We have 4 fucking releases. Now, granted, 2 of them I believe are re-releases. I believe, which is Witcher and Overwatch tomorrow.
I want to go Overwatch.
I think Ring Fit comes out Friday.
Oh shit!
And
And Plants vs Zombies, which if anyone
that
wants.
game, what's up with that game? Like literally, no one has said shit
What's
about
it coming out on?
It comes out on PC, Xbox, PS4.
Oh,
Yeah, guess what, dude? The PC has a physical release, but it's only a code. But it's a physical release.
Shut up.
That doesn't count.
We're not getting into that.
I forgot one game.
Go
One
ahead.
game that's coming out in November, which I completely forgot about, which you just never know, is Shenmue 3.
Oh yeah.
That's coming out this November.
Yeah, November. Yeah.
That wow.
It
Okay.
got pushed in
So,
November. Came out early.
I don't know. I remember you coming out this year.
Pokemon.
Next year
Well,
could
that was
be
November. Like for me, that it might be.
next year could be interesting if let's just play play hypothetical game here.
Disappointing.
So for those that like the series, you got The Last of Us 2, you got Animal Crossing and Doom on the same day, Doom Eternal, probably Bayonetta 3, possibly
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild 2.
Fuck, yo.
Plus you got Halo Infinite for I don't know if anyone
okay.
here is gonna be that excited.
That game's
but-
having problems.
yeah. Actually, they lost another of the head people, I guess.
Yep.
But it could be, and you got new consoles coming out, so it's going to be an interesting year next year.
Dude, next year's stacked already.
Yeah.
And Cyberpunk. And
20
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. Oh, good God.
I feel like there's
Good
the
God.
Avengers game that looks like trash, but that's coming out.
I want to play. I'm looking for it.
All right, let's.
Like
I
trash.
think it looks better now than it used to, though.
All right, Lightning 49 asked a question. Let's just give a quickest answer you could. Which JRPG series from this list do you consider most enjoyable overall? Final Fantasy, Xenoblade, Xenosaga, Xenogears, Tales, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, Shadow Hearts, which I've never heard of, Fire Emblem, or Pokemon.
The most enjoyable? Fuck.
Overall,
Xenoblade for me because I haven't played any others really.
Easy.
Damn it.
That's tough.
I'll just go fast then because my answer is easy. It's the Tales of franchise. I love the Tales of battle system.
I don't know, man. I played Vesperia Definitive Edition on Switch, and it's an all right
It's an
system.
acquired taste.
Yeah, I don't really care for that battle system too much personally. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Fuck. It's for me. It's between.
Xeno and Pokey.
Yo,
And
that's
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, yeah.
Oh, Fire Emblem. Duh.
Robert, you got to give one answer too. You can't give three.
Well, I got one answer. I got one answer for this one for sure.
Go ahead.
I'd definitely be Xenoblade. If once I start playing maybe more Pokemons, maybe, or I like the Kingdom Hearts. I like Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was liking what I was playing before with Kingdom Hearts. So if I play more, maybe. But for now, definitely Xenoblade. Exactly.
Kingdom Hearts was on that list. That is
yeah, it was. That to me, that's not really the same
That
thing.
is not a JRPG.
That's more like an action RPG.
It's an action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Oh, fuck me.
Paper Mario, if that was on the list.
Is
That's
that
not
a
JRPG.
good JRPG?
No, it's not JRPG. It's an RPG, but it's not
Yeah,
JRPG.
that's true.
I tried. See, Pokemon has deep mechanics.
What about Mario
RPG?
RPG?
Wait, Oh, you're talking about the
No, that don't count as a JRPG.
What about
And it's
Ring
not a
Fit
series.
Adventure?
Anyway,
What about Ring Fit Adventure?
anybody else got a quick answer? They can...
Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
were
Go ahead.
I'm struggling between Final Fantasy and Zelda, and the Zelda series, because Final Fantasy for me is 6, 7, and 9. All the rest I could forget about.
That's where I'm at. See,
Yeah, and with the Zelda
Bro,
series,
10. You tell me you don't fuck with 10
I'll give you 10. I'll throw 10 in there. 10 is
nah, I didn't like 10, but Xenogears on the PS1 is so fucking good.
Right.
And the first Xenoblade, the Xenoblade X and 2 is my least favorite, but it's still such a good game.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's hard, man.
Well, for me, it's like It's like that Janet Jackson song. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I think that's it. If that's the case, then I'd go with Zello.
It has to be
With the
Xenoblade.
Zello series,
Okay.
yeah.
We're going that route. Fuck, because it's between Xenoblade and Fire Emblem for me. Damn it! I guess you know what I'm gonna say Xenoblade probably. For right now, it's Xenoblade, but it could easily change.
Wow. I'm spreading that Pokemon.
Pokemon's one of those things that's like enjoyable, but like, and it's you got to get into like the competitive shit before it like gets really deep and interesting. We're talking about battle systems here, like
Yeah.
it's probably Xenoblade.
Is there anything missing from that list that you think should at least been on the list?
Persona.
Yeah, okay. I have my reservations.
What about
like you got
Bravely,
shanked
the
or
Bravely
something.
series
Yeah.
plus Octopath?
I think Bravely overall has the better battle system than Octopath, but they're so fucking close. I could take either or in that situation.
But it's not a series.
Yeah.
That's
All right, let's get to
Octopath
the.
run.
One and done yet.
We
yeah.
got about 30 minutes here, so I
So you
think
can
the
watch
next
this
two
funky-ass
questions
football
are going to
game.
spawn quite the discussion. So, my second favorite listener viewer of the podcast asked if you could choose only one way to play the Switch from here on out. Would you choose portable mode or dock mode? And I actually made a poll. And I got 195 votes.
Who said that though?
Terminator Juice.
How is that your second favorite?
So
First and second.
first,
That's
just
some bullshit right there.
you know, for some
Sucking air
people.
before it gets up off is ridiculous, man.
In the poll, there was people definitely struggling to make a decision. The results were 56% dock to 44 portable out of 195 votes. Definitely by far the most participation I've ever had on a poll. And I mean, there's a lot of actually a good conversation out of that. I want to, now that I see the results, it kind of made me think of couple different points. So let's just give the answer that if you had to pick one. I know it's one of those stupid,
I want to get my
if
point,
you're on a
yeah.
desert island, what's the one item you'd take with you type of question. But it wasn't as easy for me as you guys. I mean, the answer is going to be predictable, but the
super easy for me.
getting there was a little more challenging than I thought. So T, what was your choice?
Docked.
All right, clocked it.
Easy for me. Docked.
Retro.
Man, it wasn't too easy for Clocked it earlier. What the fuck?
No. That wasn't my argument. That was not my argument.
I'm picking dogs. I'm picking dogs too.
Robert, I know your answer.
Yeah, 100% docked.
Terrell.
Portable.
All right.
Christ.
Now, honestly, this was just I wanted to post a question, and I was trying to think of something that would be interesting. And
Controversial.
now I see the results. I mean, it was at 50-50 at one point. To me, this just proves Nintendo made the best of both worlds. Does that make any sense? Like,
Mhm.
if it was more of a landslide, like, oh, they got the portable mode right, but they fucked up docked mode, or they got docked mode nailed down, but the portable mode's lacking. To me, like, they made the right compromises to get this even of a vote on what the Switch can do in either mode. So I thought that was kind of I honestly expected it to be portable mode the winner. So I was actually a little surprised it was slightly edged to dock mode.
I was
I thought it would be
expecting
close, but I thought
dogs.
it-
That's why I was surprised with how many people voted portable. That's why I retweeted it because I liked it. I was like, damn, a lot of people actually do want that portable shit.
And I mean, it's
That's
like
a big selling point. for
if
the
you
Switch.
had to like just make that choice, most people were pretty close either way, but if they had to, they weren't going to give up playing on the bus or playing it, when they're laying down on the couch, laying down on
the couch,
I
watching
like the way you
football,
said
watching the football game or
the other part
baseball.
of this being so even tells me that this, and like T said a while ago, like the Switch could easily outdo the Wii. I think this tells me too that they have captured the handheld only type gamers. This is only 195 votes, but they got those people just as much as they got their normal console purchasers. I think they got a good chunk of the 3DS, DS. People that love those systems but never owned a Wii U, and wouldn't have bought a standard home console. and I think they got. So I really think the Switch could. Maybe the timing of it, because of when it came out, could be a little tougher. But like I said, my juice opinions, I think they could just keep the Switch Lite going for 4 or 5 years from now, and this thing could end up with almost 3DS or DS
Right.
numbers. DS
You're
numbers.
saying exactly what I said when I made that point.
Yeah.
I said by the time you get to the end of the Switch's life cycle, and we're speculating there would be a portable version of it, or even if it wasn't, it'd be a $150 system at that point.
Mm-hmm.
With these games that's on there, it's gonna be selling crazy. It's gonna be PS2 type of shit going on with the Switch. Even with these new consoles coming out, PS2 was still selling crazy when Xbox 360 and PS3 were out. So it probably sold 50 million of its units.
I mean, honestly,
after it came out.
From the Switch Lite's launch day, which was, I forget, September, was it, or August? I don't remember the exact day. I bet you go from the 1 year from that, when it came out, to 1 year later with Pokemon and Animal Crossing and all the other games that are already available. I wouldn't be shocked if just the Lite alone does like 15 million in that year.
Mhm.
Like this is definitely going to be the biggest year the Switch is probably ever going to have with all these games, and they could just keep the Switch Lite going and come out. They could come out with another system, and it could be just a TV only dock, console system, and just keep the Switch Lite going for years. Like they did.
So
the
I got like
3DS.
this bullshit question, kind of. So do you think at some point, let's say 2 years from now, this kid, he gets like the Switch Lite for Christmas, he's all happy playing the Switch games, and he visits his friends. He's like, hey, do you have a dock your Switch? And the kid's like, wait, you can dock it? And he tries to ram it in his dock and shit, and it doesn't dock because it's a Switch Lite.
Yeah, that's definitely Nintendo. I think they must have had some numbers that told them that a handheld only version was definitely a desirable thing. I think it's gonna be huge. Like,
Oh, they keep
Yeah.
the figures. They already came out with percentages and stuff. I
yeah,
think it was quite equal actually. When just like this poll, if I remember correctly, it was
oh yeah,
quite-
that's right. Nintendo actually
yeah.
did ask that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then the other part of this is the Witcher 3 Switch port reviews and stuff are coming out today, and I only watched two, but two completely different sites, completely different videos. Both said the exact same thing. In portable mode, this shines. It's like just blew them away. Like it's just to play this game, the way it looks, complete on the go, just was like that. That's a selling point. Then they both said the TV's definitely the lead, wasn't the focus they feel of the developer, and if you got a other home console, if you're only going to play it on a TV, then pretty much don't get the Switch version. Get it if you're going to play in portable mode. But that's pretty much a lot of these ports. It's like, oh my god, in portable mode, that small screen, these games look great. Like, I played Doom in portable mode for like a couple hours, and then I docked it. And I'm like, holy shit, this looks terrible. Back in the day. But in portable mode, it looked really clean and
It's
stuff.
really good.
And you got same thing was said for Hellblade, and same thing was said for what was one of the other big third parties, like Wolfenstein, but I feel like there's one more that I'm.
And you get people looking over your shoulder if you're on the bus, if you're on a plane.
Yeah, man, like
What
that's.
is he playing on that little screen? That
So I
looks great.
think the Switch as a handheld has a pretty long life still left in it because of it. Like Ori and the Blind Forest, the demo, like seeing that in the Switch in portable mode, like it looked like playing it on my 1440p monitor. Like, it looks so sharp and so clean. Like I just really think the Switch has a long life, but as dock mode, I don't think it has as long of a shelf life.
No.
From that perspective, the games will still be there, and like I said in my juice opinions, I don't care if Breath of the Wild runs at 540p. I'm getting it day one, and there's nothing going to stop that.
Yeah.
But
I literally said Nintendo can drop their next console, and the Switch could be their portable for another 5 years if they wanted it to be. Like,
and I kind
seriously.
of think that might be where they head, where they do what they how they handle it. So
Yeah.
but who knows? They might already have a plan. They might already have a a Switch 2 that's the same concept, but who knows?
I picked dock mode because main reason being comfort. Like I can't play Breath of the Wild for 6 hours straight handheld. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I forgot
First of all, your battery's going to die.
unless you got the new
Second
one.
of all, it's just not as comfortable holding that thing. Especially with me, my problem is my Joy-Cons just slide. They don't even lock anymore. So
Well, even
that
the
sucks.
I didn't mind that. See, to me, that wasn't even an issue because the argument was which way I would rather play it, but that doesn't mean I still couldn't get like the same accessories. Like the accessories I want for portable mode, I can get. With dock mode, like my issue was like technical limitations. That shit's gonna be an issue regardless of how I'm doing it. So
No, but then you're gonna have to buy extra shit for it to be comfortable. I'm
Listen,
talking about the base system.
The Game Boy Color. I don't give a damn.
But that's cheating to me. We're talking about the base system here, portable versus
Yeah, but
dock.
if you choose portable, you do have those options. Just like with dock, you have the option to play with the Pro Controller. So
I'm with T on this because just in the
but
fact
that's
that
not the same.
just playing Smash for like 10 minutes.
Smash.
fucking
Yeah, that's-
hurts.
Like, let's see you guys get online and play Smash in portable mode. Let's see how that goes. Fuck you. That shit is not gonna be.
it's hard to
that's
see.
not gonna
It's
be
hard
cool.
to see your character, honestly,
Right.
when you're playing 4-player. But the biggest things for me, the comfort, obviously, but then the dock's the only way to get a wired connection. So if you're gonna play online like Smash Brothers, like with a good connection.
See, for me, it was more. So
Oh, you ain't moving with the Pro Controller talk because my Joy-Cons get plenty of use. So
Yeah,
I'm
but-
not even that don't even move me.
Well, no, my whole thing is just that I get more gaming done in portable mode than I do in.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
dock.
that's really the big point you got to
That's
think
my
about.
main thing. Like I wouldn't be able to play. I mean, as a functioning adult in society, as much as I can, I'm a fucking degenerate first and
So-
foremost. But
We're gonna have a similar kind of discussion for Malik's question, and I know Clocked had already kind of in the private chat there. You were already kind of talked about when people ask this type of question. But what do you guys think would have long term helped the Wii U out more? Releasing in 2011 with Skyward Sword, or not being called Wii U and having better marketing? So he gave those two choices, but I actually have some other options.
That's tough.
I think if they could have had it done with everything it had in 2011 with Skyward Sword, that would have been pretty big to help it. It might have hit 2030. I don't think it would have been huge. But for me, if you're going to call it the Wii U, and sorry, Clocked, I know that you don't love this idea, but then just make it be an HD Wii, and just go and just keep going with that. With the, like I think Red Knight was always saying, put Wii Remote Nunchuck in it, have it be an HD Wii with these great games. That definitely would have been more successful. I don't know how much more successful. We all love the gamepad, and I love the Wii U. It's probably still right up there in my favorite Nintendo systems. But if I just had to look at it and say, what would have helped it more, I don't know.
What were the two options again?
Releasing with Skyward Sword as a launch title in 2011, or not being called Wii U, having a different name and having better marketing.
For me, I always said, and I still mean that, the Wii U had an incredible launch lineup, I feel, when it comes to first party and third party. I always said, and that is what I honestly feel was the biggest downfall. It never should have been fucking called the Wii U. That was just a dumbass thing.
Yeah. The identity crisis. It had an identity crisis.
Yeah.
That console. That was
Nintendo
the main problem.
doubled down, and this is another part of the discussion, which he didn't make it an option, but when Xbox One came out, $500, they forced Connect. People didn't want it, and it sold about what the Wii U sold in its first 6 months. Like, it was really close. I think it was ahead by, it was less than 1 million ahead of the Wii U after 6 months, type of thing. And instead of Microsoft, they could have doubled down on Connect and just started making their top tier games to take advantage. Well, Nintendo made a couple games take full advantage of the gamepad, but then they'd put out Smash. You couldn't even use the touchscreen for the menu.
Right.
And they put out 3D World, and it used it a little bit. Donkey Kong didn't use it at all. So if you weren't going to use it, and who knows, like, this is just...
That was part of my identity. That's a part of my identity crisis.
Yeah, so if you're going to call it Wii U,
didn't know
just
what
put
they
a
were
Wii
gonna
Remote Nunchuck, make it an HD Wii, if you want to try this other thing. But even then, Nintendo had to see the writing on the wall. And, you know, I wasn't one of these people that wanted this, but I'm just saying, looking at what Microsoft did, now that the Xbox One's going to hit between 40 and 45 million, they did a pretty fair job of salvaging how it started. If Nintendo would have said, you know what, this didn't work, we got all these consoles, let's put them out $250 with a Pro controller and whatever game, name a game that would have worked best with the Pro, Smash Brothers or something. That definitely would have sold a lot more, but I don't think it would have saved it. I just think, you know, at that point, what's the point of just?
I mean, aspects of Miiverse wouldn't have worked. You know, like the drawing.
Yeah, they would have had to update the OS,
but it still would have worked.
Yeah, they could have
for the most part.
The Smash Brothers thing you mentioned, that was such a fucking thing for me. That still bothers me. My first 2 games on the Wii U were Nintendo Land, because I bought that bundle, and Darksiders 2. Nintendo Land had the asymmetric gameplay, and Darksiders 2 used the gamepad perfectly. You could have the map on there, use it, change your gear on the fly while playing and shit. Then I played Smash, I'm hitting this fucking screen. I'm like, why the fuck can't I hit start?
It's so stupid.
Especially the 3DS
I did that
version.
so many times.
The 3DS version was better in a couple different ways. That had the touch screen, it'd save your favorite colors for each character.
But you can use your 3DS as a controller. How about that shit?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's history. There's nothing you can do about it now, but I just think Nintendo being stubborn and, you know, in year 3
Next Gen said that a couple of years ago. Y'all ain't listening.
3-4 years later, they're finally putting out games that really utilize the gamepad, and it was like, you know, that probably wasn't the smartest choice, but, you know, it led to the Switch, and, you know, it's all history now. But
this is the first time they had a gimmick, but they didn't really have a plan behind it.
yeah, they didn't have the operating system figured out until like the month before. The press didn't even have it for the review of the Wii U. They didn't have the full operating system.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There was, I mean, we could talk the Wii U, you know, all day.
We could talk. That could be a whole podcast.
You know, and you know, I always kind of argue a little against the gamepad, because, you know, the gamepad just wasn't about split screen.
It's about off TV play.
It was about off TV play. It was about just having a map on there, like Retro talked about. It was about asymmetric gameplay. It was about Miiverse. You know, the gamepad was a multi-tooled thing that didn't need to be used in every game, but it was used in some way in the vast majority of games. You know, even if everything wasn't used at once. But I mean, at the end of the day as well, you know, name aside and launch issues aside or whatever, the industry was also against the Wii U, and, you know, we got to remember, you know, the industry itself was against the Wii U from start to finish, and they started
video at the video document.
Yeah, you know, they started off they started off with the same with the Switch. You saw them all.
Yeah, they tried to do the same thing to the Switch.
They tried to do the Switch. Take with it. No one wants to play that fucking portable. And now everyone's sucking the Switch's dick. Like, you know, it's it's just. Yeah, that's the difference, you know. It's Nintendo could always make mistakes, but they can bounce back. But when you've got the industry against you constantly, you know, with only a few devs trying, a few devs like you know, when they released Deus Ex on there, and, you know, and Ubisoft were great, but then they fucked up as well. I always say Rayman Legends, the delaying of that fucked up the Wii U.
Yeah,
more than most games.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah, more than most games.
I was so pissed off at the time.
Oh man, I was raging. You could feel it. You could feel.
First, they delayed it to like February the next year, and then they announced the multi-plat in the further delay, and it was like, fuck.
So even if it was called the Wii, the Wii 2, right? And remember, it was fully backwards compatible. They could play the old Wii games and all this stuff. I feel like even if they changed the name and got some marketing rights, I feel like there would still be issues because it was not what the industry wanted.
Well,
just because.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, one of the counters to, you know, other than the off TV play for the gamepad, we were always like, oh man, you can't play Splatoon without the gamepad. You can't play this without the gamepad. And then we get Splatoon 2, and I don't think. I mean, yeah, in the beginning it might have felt weird, but the people that play Splatoon 2 a lot, I bet you they don't even miss it. I bet they didn't. You know, they found a solution that work
Yeah, you
very
can always
well.
pick out solutions.
So they could have done that
we're
for.
talking about being intuitive and stuff, and I always found Splatoon 1 vastly more intuitive in terms of just tapping the map and stuff quickly. But it's like with Darksiders 2, and one of the best games was Xenoblade Chronicles X, where you could just keep on running, you'd have the map on the Game Pass screen, and the game would never pause. You could pretty much be HUD free, and yeah, you can do it without it. But the point was,
Batman Arkham City Armored Edition was fucking
yeah.
phenomenal.
You could do it without it, but the point is that it was just more intuitive with it.
It was, but at the same time, even though I love like the Wii U and I've defended it,
Deus Ex Human Revolution was
still love
amazing
it.
with the gamepad.
But
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
I could see now that we've had almost 3 years of the Switch, like just adding gyro to the Switch's Pro controller and stuff could have, like, it's just like with Splatoon, you tap the X and you instantly can jump to where you want. Like it's.
I ain't trying to get that shit, Juice. You trying to take the gamepad?
it'd be.
I ain't trying to get that shit.
I'm just saying, man. I was a big
Breath of the
Pro
Wild,
gamepad guy, and
The problem was they didn't use the thing. It's not the
they
problem
didn't
that
use
it
it,
existed.
and now
they didn't
there's
utilize it enough. They
examples
didn't
of
sell
it.
it enough. That was the
So imagine playing Breath of the Wild and never needing to pause the game. That would have just made a massive difference. I know we can still play without it, but it still makes.
Yeah, I'm still mad
difference.
about that. I said that shit when they took it out of the Wii U version.
I
I'm
just,
gonna get the Wii U version, but he took it out because he didn't want it to
The
be
way,
different, you know?
unless the item display looked completely different on the gamepad, like you still have to look down at the screen for 15 seconds sometimes to find the item you're looking for. So unless they had some different way of organizing the
That's
items.
how Xenoblade worked. You would the landscapes are so open. You could travel on your rope, in your mech, in your doll.
I guess on the horse you could do that.
You tap stuff when you're on the horse. The horse auto runs on paths. You just run across the fields. The point is,
Well, what about in battles though?
you're not looking down at the. Yeah, but you're still gonna have quick menus and stuff, aren't you?
Right,
It's
you still got
it's-
Well, they
you know,
said
you
that menu came up because they had to scrap the gamepad. Otherwise, who knows, the little D-pad quick action stuff might not even exist.
Well, why wouldn't it?
they're not gonna get rid of
Well, that's what they
button
said. That was the
prompts and stuff like
solution to not having the gamepad, was doing that with the D-pad. So
I guess we'll never know what they're.
No,
fully
we
going
won't
to
know, 'cause
End up with the game.
I'd love to see a build though, like have some footage like we saw at
because
the Game
even
Awards.
when we saw the footage, you still had button prompts on the screen for your items and stuff like that. They had that in the
It was going to
original
be completely
demos.
gone. You're still going to
Yeah.
need to use buttons and stuff.
But I mean, obviously that was a big problem for a lot of people, and even though we loved it and stuff, I was just kind of speaking more, what
But
could
I
have
don't.
made it a
The
success.
thing, what I'm trying to think of when me and Clockton are trying to say, I think it wouldn't have been a big problem had it been utilized more. Like it wouldn't have been a problem with people. I think people latched onto that shit because it was like, oh, it's not selling well. What's the problem? Or it has to be this big gamepad in my face.
Yeah, there's just
But
big
if
chunky
it was selling well, all that bullshit would have went away. If the Switch didn't sell well, people were like, man, it's because the handheld part's holding it back. You know, like that's not graphically powerful enough. That's what people would have been saying had it not done well.
Mhm.
Same thing with the Wii U. If it sold well, nobody would have said none of that shit.
Yeah, and
that they
people
complained about.
were hunting for stuff. We talked about the other day when we were saying that people trying to work out how powerful the Switch was. How powerful is this handheld going to be? Let's look at all this stuff. It can't do this, can't do that. What's the point? They were looking for absolutely everything.
And all that shit
Shit.
just went away when them sales numbers came in and kept coming in. That's when all that shit went away. People stopped
Yeah,
talking.
because it's like what you guys said. The people went into the Switch with that same attitude. It's gonna
Yeah.
fail. It's gonna suck, and all those people are like big riding the shit out of it now.
Yep.
And
They had to
to
turn
quickly
around.
add on to this, I want to see, like, a part of me wants to see Nintendo do something completely fucking different next generation, and you watch them all just fly away. I said that before.
They're gone.
They're gone.
That's the thing about the Wii U, between the Wii U and the Switch, is that the Switch is very simple. You can explain it very simply. The Wii U has so many goddamn options. You can have 5 different controller options for one game on the Wii U. You can have the gamepad. You can have the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. You can have the Pro Controller from the Wii.
Yeah.
You can have all kinds of shit. I think
Although people
maybe it
are
was
all about
just-
one game, but this game
Right.
forces me
Yeah.
to use the game.
Well, that's
How many
also a
fucking
case
games
of
are there?
maybe giving people. I wouldn't want to say
that's
too
what
many,
I said. It was
too
probably
many options, but I don't
Right.
think that was that much of a selling point unless you had the Wii U and had all those options.
No,
you
I'm
know?
not. I'm not saying that's a selling point. I'm saying that was probably a detriment to a lot
Yeah.
of people. The simplicity of the Switch is
Mhm.
you switch it. That's
you-
it. You pull it out. It's traditional controls. Blah blah blah. You
Mhm.
go. But the Wii U had all these different things, which I thought was phenomenal, but was probably too convoluted for a lot of people. So
I'd love to see like a hack of the Wii U if Miiverse was still there, where just somebody could went and streamline the OS, where it was just like it was just as fast as the Switch. Because going
Yeah.
back, some of
oh
some
yeah,
of that
don't-
shit takes so long to load up. Now it's just
Yeah.
if that was snappy and fast, I think that could have been
Yeah.
a big change for the better in people's minds. But all right, we're gonna do TriLink's question. We'll save Malik's for next week. And this one might be hard if I really can't think of one right now. But what is one game, regardless of platform, you think everyone should play to completion?
Like just beat her like 100%.
It doesn't. You'd have to ask him. I don't
play
know.
to beat it.
Like
Just to beat it.
put it.
yeah.
You know, don't just play the beginning, but maybe.
Regardless of platform, so any fucking platform.
I think any great game you should finish, but
I mean, at that point, I'd have to say Breath of the Wild. It's like the greatest game of all time. You got to try it
Yeah,
out.
we're talking so many platforms and so many different. That's a lot to pick one game.
is there any one that like the ending's so good that if you don't get, if you gave up on the game, you'd really be missing out type of thing?
I love that Galaxy 1 ending. It's a great ending.
Yeah, that's great.
So honestly, what is one game, regardless of platform, do you think everyone should play to?
Well,
completion?
everyone too. Yeah, that's not just a few.
Everyone should play, right?
That's why I say Breath of the Wild, because I feel like I remember hearing I remember the Game Explained Dad he played.
Oh, he said not
Breath of the
necessarily
Wild.
100%, just complete to the end.
It
Like,
just-
you know how he played Breath of the Wild to the end and stuff, and I feel like that's such a world that you can get lost in that any person would just be like wowed by, and I think that's just it's that game, it's that game that you get people into gaming. I feel like is Breath of the Wild.
There's a lot of games that come to mind for me. First of all, like Grandia 2 to me, for example, had one of the greatest plot twists in gaming history, I feel. That shit like Fragile Dreams, which is just so unique. I feel people need to experience that shit.
He said
But-
everybody, man.
I
And
know.
if I had to choose
Obscure
if I had to choose
RPGs.
yeah, no, that's why. If I could choose just one that I feel everybody should play, it's Skies of Arcadia, because it's still
Oh, you're getting
biggest
too
adventure
hardcore, man. You're
any
getting
game
too hardcore.
has.
That's,
No,
that's
Skies
pretty
of Arcadia
hardcore.
is not even that hardcore. It's just
It is
just
hardcore.
such a huge adventure that I feel no game still to this day I feel comes close to everything you experience in that game.
I probably myself float towards Ocarina of Time, probably for myself.
Oh, yeah. There's
I'm
just-
gonna say Sakura Wars So Long My Love. That's the game that everybody
What the
should
fuck?
play.
What the hell was that? That was such a random fucking thing to just bring up all of a sudden.
Maybe
Okay.
Scarface, The World Is Yours. That's probably one that
Oh,
you
get the fuck out of here, yo.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom. That's the one.
Oh my god. How
I'm
dare
trying to-
you.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to think of a game where like, what we know it's great, and if somebody actually sat down and played it, whether they think going in that's gonna be stupid or that's they're a dude bro, like, I can't help but think of this comment I heard recently from Next Gen, where he knew all about Nintendo merging their handheld and home console teams and why they've been able to pump out so many games and have consistency, but then he calls every game in a Nintendo game in a blanket statement those dog shit games. Like somebody, there's got to be a game that even someone like that, if
You
they
also gotta learn
actually
not to
sat
do that,
down and
seriously.
played it
That's just so
from beginning to end, it
Hey,
could
dog
win them over type of thing,
No,
I don't
it's
think there's an
these are the
Nintendo
same
game that can
people
win.
who think Nintendo games are only Mario and Zelda. So it's I think it's a pointless exercise.
I
to,
just want to put this in perspective. Next Gen is the type of dude who has a wife who would leave him if she caught him playing anything that didn't have any type of violence or gore in it. Like it's like
What are you
the
playing
fuck
this kitty shit with the girl?
what the
in
fuck is
dress?
that? Got a colorful game. I'm taking the kids. We're leaving. Fucking leave. Like that's the
Some
type
people
of
just
thing.
ain't built for it, man. They ain't built
He ain't
for it.
man enough to let his guard down.
Yeah. It's just that's just the
He's
way
the
some
dude.
people
He's
are.
the dude who's like sensitive about telling people, "Yeah, man, I like cuddling with my wife sometimes." Oh no, you gay,
Oh
man.
no!
You
How
gay.
dare you say that? You know,
Yeah,
you should
Trying
be
to
cuddling.
You out here trying to be vulnerable? Fuck you.
But now, see, if I'm gonna pick a game, this is the game because this is a game that I think everybody can play. It works for you as a gamer, I think, but it also if you're not really into games, I think it works as well. And that would be The Longest Journey. Nobody knows what the hell that is, probably, but
Yeah, I know what the longest journey is.
okay, it's
Easy.
it's a PC, mostly PC series. Started off mostly. It's on some consoles. I think the latest one is on Xbox One and PS4. So, you could. I wouldn't start there. I would start with at least the second one, Dreamfall.
Dreamfall. Yeah.
Yeah, I would start with that one. But that I think because it's such a beautiful story and experience. I think it will work for gamers. There's not a crazy gameplay in it, but it still holds you as a gamer. But there's also like really good storytelling and like nice fantasy world and stuff. So that would
Yeah,
be my pick.
Just
Dreamfall.
thinking about it, I think Robert's right. It Breath of the Wild has some complex controls, but it starts you off, and I think who was that? I was watching somebody, or one of you guys were telling me or something, where they're talking about how their wife or girlfriend or somebody they knew was like in the beginning they were really struggling. It might have been a YouTuber I was watching, and then it was actually their dad. It wasn't. Now that I'm remembering it. And he's just like, he was so proud that his dad beat Breath of the Wild, and he let him know. And
Game Explained. That's what I was saying.
was that? Yeah, that was Game Explained.
Yeah, it was Game Explained.
Yeah, yep, it was Andre.
2 games in his whole life, and one of those Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and he just said
that world deal.
he had to help him with stuff, and then all of a sudden one day he called him, yeah, I beat Ganon, and without having Andre help him, and it was just like, and then when my sister was telling me that she wasted $150 on that stupid mobile game buying furniture for decorating a room, and I was like, man, I want to just get her a Switch, probably the Switch Lite with Breath of the Wild, and just see if she could get lost in, because she used to game back in a long time ago. I just think anybody that actually sat down, had no distractions around them, walked out of the resurrection, Shrine of Resurrection for the first time, and knew they could go anywhere. I really think that could be the one, because any other game, you're like, I'm thinking of watching
the
Robert's
curve,
mom.
though, that's what I'm worried about.
But
because especially early on, that bitch is hard.
Yeah, you'd have to have somebody
Breath of the
there
Wild is
to help you. But
well, because I told my mom when she turned 60, you gotta play Breath of the Wild.
You should record
that.
that.
I told her when you retire, you're gonna have nothing to do really. So I'm telling you, you need to play Breath of the Wild. I feel like it's gonna be that game.
Go on vacation.
Yeah, but you do it every single day, So it's
obviously.
Would you read me the question again?
Oh, just what game you would
I got quiet.
Yeah, what game would you recommend that everyone has to play to completion?
Not just gamers. Yeah, no, I guess because that's what I didn't get. Because earlier, because when I gave my answers, you guys were like, "Oh, those are hardcore games." I'm like, "What the fuck does that matter?" Because I'm just thinking. I thought the question was, "What answer?"
Oh, you're breaking up.
I'm thinking of this. You guys just pick easy
Down
games
syndrome.
people can get into.
Yeah, it was more. The question was stated that you think everyone should play, like anyone.
In that case, my answer would, because if you talk about this easy get into games, that anybody could randomly play to get them maybe into gaming, then my answer would just be Breath of the Wild or Animal Crossing.
I'm just trying to take into consideration, are you going to hand somebody a storied RPG and think they're going to get through it without being frustrated and quit?
I got one.
That was my thinking.
Trail's got one. Sonic.
No. As much as the irony, as much as I don't like this fucking game, I think it's a good intro game, and that's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I feel like that's one of those.
every game. I don't know. I don't think.
That's a good intro game.
It probably is, yeah.
It's a good intro game. As much as I don't fucking care for it, it's a good intro game, and it's a game that's easily understood. It's not anything complicated. Hell, you don't even have to do really the training. The game is so like easy and shit. It's just it's a good starting experience.
But part of it has to be a good game and people like like you have to be like it has to be a game that you really want somebody to play. You can't we're not just picking the games that we think would be easy for somebody to get into. We want a game that we want them to play through to completion. We want them to play through that to completion.
And it'd be a good
It's a game
experience,
that
you know.
you're feeling. Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a game, and maybe it's because of my love of RPGs. At least for me, there isn't a game that is easy to get people into, but also like I love to death. All my favorite games are games that are like start off simple but get really complicated as the time goes on.
But that's fine because you work that person into the more complicated stuff.
Like Super Mario Odyssey would probably be a good choice because there's plenty of easy moves.
Yeah, Odyssey. Yeah.
For the beginners to make it through the game, and it actually had the story stuff was actually pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, I think that's I think fucking
that's a fair one.
Hey,
Breath of the Wild and Odyssey, they nailed it. They nailed it on so many fronts. I could totally see someone just getting into it, man.
And Terrell, you listed games coming out. I think you forgot one.
Yeah, I did. Little Town Hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
I
gonna
knew
be digital?
there's like 4 games coming out this week. It's fucking stupid.
It's $25. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's $25.
Why didn't they just release that in fucking January or February? I have no.
Yeah, I know.
Makes no sense.
Why release that shit?
That was
now?
so
Like,
stupid.
I like how mad Juice is.
There's so many. It's not like a game like I'm super looking forward to, but it just looking at it completely subjectively from a business standpoint. What the fuck were they thinking? Like you might as well just not released it because that's just.
To be fair, you can make the same argument for Ring Fit. Like, why the fuck is that coming out?
Yeah, that too. But
right now,
when you combine both those with everything else, with Luigi's Mansion coming out, and we had Astral Chain and
which is this week is weird.
Machina, and you got all these
think
third
about
parties.
I mean, just think about it this week. Tomorrow it's Witcher and Overwatch. The day after that is Little Town Hero, and then 2 days after that it's fucking Ring Fit Adventure.
It's
like
ridiculous.
Like who in the fuck? Let's pretend like I gave a pretend like I gave a shit about every one of these games. Who the fuck has that much money? And Ring Fit's $80.
Well, they're not. They're just trying to hit as many different types of people. They're not expecting someone to buy all
usually,
those.
yeah. If you're looking for Witcher 3, you ain't really checking for Ring Fit for the most part.
You might, hey, man.
Usually.
No,
we're just out of the ordinary. We're just out of the ordinary.
Maybe I want to sleep with some wenches, and then I want to work out a little bit.
And you can take a choice. You can come back and get one of those later. You don't have to get them at the same time.
You tell me to make a decision. How dare you?
Maybe I'll
the game's been out for 4 years. It ain't like you got to rush out and get it. Switch day
But
one.
But come on, T, it's portable. I can play this on the toilet without even trying. You know?
Actually, are you maybe gonna pick up Witcher one of these days?
Maybe
I
there's a lot of shit
we got
going.
the baby out of him.
Listen, I'm probably taking the retro approach instead of the T approach. So like,
I saw those naked wenches we showed you in the chat, and now you want to not in the chat, but in the hangout. Now you want to
So would you get the Switch version, Terrell?
Of what, Witcher?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I was looking
even
at
when
Overwatch.
it's twice the price.
I was looking at Overwatch.
When you're talking about,
it's not twice the price. It's like $20 more.
You can get the
$25.
complete edition right now for $34.99 on other consoles.
Because I would play it more on Switch.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's like the reason why I buy certain.
But you
Switch
can't
games.
take them bitches everywhere you go, can you? Ah! Switch wins.
I
bitch.
got we're gonna wrap this up, but when I was playing the fucking Goose game for an hour, like my you don't have to do a lot of like actions in that, and I was like, man, my fucking hands are cramping. I just don't play portable mode enough that when I do, it's like, I don't.
It's
have
like learning the guitar. You got
Yeah.
You got to train your fingers, and that shit hurts in the beginning. Like, it hurts.
But anyway, we're gonna have to wrap this one up, and
Because somebody wants to watch their dog.
yeah,
team
watch
lose.
my team lose. But it was a good discussion, good questions.
One chop.
So keep them coming, guys. Discord's the place to ask them. I seen a few in the live chat, but sign up or join the Discord. I know there's only about maybe a dozen active people commenting and having discussions on there, but it's still we got some good sometimes debate, sometimes just everybody agreeing type of stuff, but the questions are found in a little one of the channels on the top.
Discord.
And eventually we might have to we'll go back to probably having to use Discord if Hangouts ever disappears. So well, yeah, that's gonna be it for this week.
What the fuck is going on?
Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.